What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscriber died trying. You see the thumbnail. Um, Listening to Minister Jap and Angry Man today, and I think Minister Jap said it, but he was like, when it came to people like in Jay-Z and Dame Dash, he more favored Dame Dash. And because I be clowning with Solo every now and then about DMX or Jay-Z, I thought it was a good topic to come up with about who do you think you are, in the sense of, are you more like Jay-Z or you more like Dame Dash? Now, caveat is, Biggs was always a guy, he's highly respected. He doesn't have that, he's known as a stand-up guy. I don't think he has any enemies. Everybody's cool with him. With Jay, he got his good share of friends, and he got a fair share of enemies. Same thing with Dame. But their impact is spectacular. But who would you see yourself as? And these are the pros and cons. Some of you might see yourself as Jay-Z, who, both guys are smart, so let's just get that out the way. Jay-Z would be a guy who could work with others. He's the workhorse first and foremost. So everything goes as he goes. And I think sometimes he might get a bad rap for how he approaches things, because sometimes his crew put him in situations that he didn't put himself in. So he had to do double time just to make sure that the ship was still going. You know what I'm saying? So, and people might not have liked some of his decisions at that point, but it is what it is. The other thing about him was, if you are going to be the workhorse, you're going to be consistent. And he wasn't necessarily the man. He was always number 2, number 3. And he kept plugging away. So he's a real resilient guy. What I mean by that is, when he first came out, I think Big and Pac was still alive. After Biggie died, Diddy took over for a while. After that, Jay-Z, Volume 2 came, but see, Juvenile and DMX came at the same time, so wasn't really the man. You know what I'm saying? He didn't get that whole thing. You had new runs. Nelly came out, Eminem came out, 50 Cent came out. Nas reemerged, like he ethered him. You get what I'm saying? And Kanye came out, and it was always somebody new, but he stayed there. So that was his positive. I think that when people think about him in a negative, if you see yourself as this, people would consider him how can I say this? He would hedge the bets in his favor. He wouldn't just compete with you on record. He would compete with you in the boardroom, and he might sabotage you. That's how people felt like that's the type of thing people said, that he would sabotage you. To make sure that he was winning, he was in the greatest position and you weren't. Now, some people that's fair, some people that lacks integrity. But he always played chess. And sometimes it was cool, sometimes it wasn't. Now, Dame. Some of y'all might see yourselves as Dame, a guy who's he's ahead of the curve. He's a quote unquote visionary. He can see things before they happen. He can pave a way that you weren't looking at, and when you wind up looking at it, it's like, oh wow, I didn't even think you had that type of I didn't even see it that way. I didn't even know this could be lucrative. I didn't know this could be anything more than what it is. And people love that. People respect that, because if he says something, it probably will pan out in the future. The only thing about being Dame is, doesn't have the best reputation of working with people. you know, he'll blow a situation up, because he wasn't necessarily the workhorse. He didn't have to be diplomatic, so sometimes he did things that the blowback was on other people. And like Kanye West says, he's Dame Dash with more money. So when people feel like Kanye is erratic, he somewhat acts like Dame Dash, but he's right. He foresees the future very well. So you got to give him credit where credit is due. I think the only problem with that is a lot of times is it's hard to build a future with somebody that's hard to work with, even if they see a bright future. So, because I think he got into NFTs. I remember Creative Control. He was breaking artists that people didn't know about at first, or people went to the underground and came back. Dame was ahead of the curve in a lot of things. But what do you see yourself as in this mix? Are you more like Jay? You more like Dame? And take the pros and cons with it. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch you on the next one. Peace.